Okay, in this video, we will talk about how to add or remove instances or basically Splunk instances from a Splunk searched cluster. Okay, now if you remember from my previous video, we talked about how to set up the searched cluster, right? And how to set up the deployer and other searched cluster members as well, right? And while discussing that, we talked about the replication factor and other stuff, right? Now here the setup I will be starting with is we have three searches and we have one deployer, okay, which are connected together to form a searched cluster. Okay, now what I will do is I will be creating a new instance, and there will be a lot of scenarios like whenever you want to add a new searched cluster member, right? There could be a lot of scenarios. Based on that, we need to take certain actions, right? So we will discuss all those scenarios today. Okay, so start with the basic scenario could be a instance is completely new, right? And we are basically scaling up our Splunk deployment over there, right? That means we are basically adding a completely new instance to our searched cluster. Okay, so let us do that one. So for that, what I'll do is I'll create a instance first in our Google Cloud. Okay, so I'll give the name as search head 4, as we have searched 1, 2 and 3 already there. Okay, I have searched 4. I just keep this one by default, US Central 1A and US Central 1 region. Other stuff, we will change the operating system as Ubuntu, because previously we installed our, if you remember from my videos on Splunk admin, we install Ubuntu on we install Splunk on this Ubuntu cluster, right? So we will be using that one as well. So disk size I'll just keep 10 here. Okay, I'll allow both of this HTTP and HTTPS traffic. I'll just click on create. So it will take some time to create this particular instance. We'll wait for that one. After that, we'll install Splunk in that particular instance. Okay, our instance has been created now. Okay, we will SSH to this particular instance. It takes a bit of time to transfer the key. We'll come back. Okay, we logged into this instance. We will first sudo to su over here. Okay, now after that, what we'll do is I'll follow the same instruction I have discussed before. Okay, we'll duplicate the Splunk. So I'll just do it quickly. If you want to see what steps I have taken, I'll give that video link as well in this particular video, so that you can refer it what I am doing it over here. So we are basically downloading Splunk with wget. I think I am installing Splunk 7.2.6 here. Okay, after I download, I will just install it using this dpackage command. Okay, so I just install it using dpackage command. It takes a bit of time to install it. Okay, it's been installed. So now we will go to our Splunk home bin folder to run a couple of commands over there. So I'll just cd to our Splunk home bin folder over here. Then I'll just enable that auto boot start. Okay, so that means whenever you are booting up your instance, it will be automatically starting that Splunk as well over there. Okay, we have to agree this license term. I'll just quickly agree this one. Okay, so I'll say yes. Username we have to create it at this time. I'll just give the username as admin username, and the password we have to give, I'll give some password here. Okay, so our Splunk auto boot start has been enabled. So now we'll just start Splunk here. Okay, so we are starting our Splunk here. So that means we created an instance and then we installed Splunk over there, right? That means our Splunk instance is ready now. Now we have to add this particular instance to our cluster. Now to add a member to a existing cluster, right? So what we need to do is first we need to initialize the cluster configuration, okay, in that member. Then we have to run a command to add that member to that cluster, okay. So first we will initialize the cluster here, okay. So to do that one, if you remember from my previous video when I talked about Splunk cluster configuration, right? So there we have run a command called Splunk init sh cluster config, right? So we will be executing the same command over here, okay. So we are in a Splunk bin folder, and we are currently in searched 4, right? So we will run a command called Splunk init sh cluster config, okay. Now here in the auth you have to give your Splunk user ID and password, okay. So I'll be giving my admin user ID and password. So I just given a normal password over here, but in your actual production scenario you should be giving a strong password over here, okay. Now in the management URL underscore URI, you have to basically give this particular instance URI over here, okay. So this is the format, https:// we need to give the external IP of this particular instance, which is this one, okay. We'll go back over here, we'll paste it over here, colon the management port over here, which is 8089. So this is our management URI. Now you have to give the replication port here, which I'll be giving 9000 here, okay. And the replication factor, if you're not sure about what this replication port and replication factor means, I discussed in detail in my other videos, so I'll be giving that video link over here as well. Replication factor, let's say I'll be giving 3 over here, okay. And then we have to give the deployer URL as well, okay. So conf underscore deploy underscore fetch underscore URL here, okay. So here we have to give the deployer user ID and password, sorry, deployer URL over here. So in a similar fashion we will be giving this guy over here, so deployer IP address, okay, colon, okay, I have to give HTTP here, HTTP / deployer IP address colon 8089 over here, okay. Now we have to give the secret key, which will basically we have set it up in the deployer, if you remember. So for that what we'll do is we will log into our deployer instance first, okay, to take that key value. Even this is also I have discussed in my previous video, so you'll be finding that those descriptions or those details in those videos as well over there, okay. Okay, we logged into our deployer instance over here. We'll sudo it, we will clear the screen, okay. Then we will go to Splunk home, Splunk etc, okay, system local folder, okay. In the system local folder there is a file called server.conf, right, where we basically set up this stanza over here, searched clustering, right. So we will copy this pass4 sim key value, okay. This will be our secret key value, which will basically this searched cluster members use to connect with the deployer, okay. So we will go back over here, and the input is secret, okay. And we can give this secret key over here, okay. And then we have a searched cluster level, right, shcluster underscore label, right. So that is also we set it up over here, right. searched cluster 1, right? So this also will give it over here, but this one is optional here. Okay, so if everything goes fine, this command should tell me like the searched clustering has been initiated on this node, right? We have to restart the node, so we will just do a Splunk restart here. Okay, so we initiated the cluster node over here, the cluster configuration over here, right? Now we have to add this member to our cluster. Okay, so to do that one, there are two ways to do it. Okay, either you can run a command search add searched cluster member, Splunk add searched cluster member to a new member, that means in our case it will be searched for, or you can run it from a existing member as well. Okay, now as we'll setting up everything through the new member, what we'll do is we will do it through this new member only. So we will clear the screen. Now this is important step. After Splunk restart, we need to run this command Splunk add sh cluster cluster member. Okay, now here if you are running from this new member, you will give an input called current member URI. Okay, if you are running from any other member which is already in the cluster, you will give new member URI. So the input name will be something like new underscore member underscore URI. That will be the difference part only. Okay, so as I am running from the new member only, okay, that means we will give current member URI. Okay, so now here is the trickiest part of this one. Okay, so current member URI means you have to give the URI of a member which is already exist in the cluster. Okay, but if you are running this command from a member which is already in the cluster, you give the new member. That means if I run this command from my searched2 which is already in my cluster, okay, in the new member I will be giving the URI for searched4. Okay, but as I am running from my searched4, so that means in the current member URI I will be giving a member URI which is already present in the cluster. Okay, so if I have to give something present, so I'll just give our searched2. Okay, let's say this guy URI only, copy, shift insert. Okay, so we give the searched2 IP address, external IP address, and the management port number over here. Okay, so we have running this from the searched cluster 4, right? Searched4 basically. So it will ask you for that user ID and password. Okay, so new member was successfully added. So if I just run a command call /splunk show sh cluster status, okay, so if you see it over here, it basically shows up which one is the captain now, okay, which is basically searched1 in this case. Okay, and what are the searched cluster members over here. If you see over here, our searched4 is also showing up over here. That means we have successfully added this searched4 as a new cluster member to our cluster. Okay, so this is very straightforward way when we have a new member joining to our team. Okay, now what happened when we are adding an existing member which was somewhere down, or we removed it for temporary purpose from the cluster. Okay, so for that we need to first know how to remove it. Okay, then we will try to add it, and we will do all this experiment with our searched cluster 4 only, searched4 only. I always keep on saying searched cluster 4, but it is searched4 which is a cluster member over here. Okay, so now we will try to see how to remove a cluster member over here. Now there are two ways you can remove a cluster member. Okay, the soft way and the hard way. Now the soft way is you just you just stop the, you just remove that member from that, from this searched cluster, okay, and you just stop that instance, so that maybe you are doing some kind of maintenance work or something, so that in future you are planning to reuse this, basically reintroduce this member as a cluster member only, okay. So that is one way. Another way is you are completely forever removing this member from a searched cluster, okay, so that you will be using that particular Splunk instance for other purpose. So let us first see it in the software first, okay. So remove a member, what we will do is we'll first clear the screen, okay. Now we will run a command called Splunk remove searched cluster member, okay, sh cluster member, okay. So we are in searched 4 and we are removing this particular member from the searched cluster. Now as we are running from the same member which we want to remove, we do not need to give the member URI here, okay. Otherwise, if you are running from another member, you may need to give that management URI of that member, the same input dash mgmt underscore URI over there, okay. So if I just do this one, so member was successfully removed over here, right? And now if I just do a Splunk stop here, so we just do, what we have done is we just remove this particular member from the searched cluster and we stopped Splunk, okay, maybe for some kind of maintenance purpose or something like that, okay. Now if let us see from an existing searched cluster member how our current cluster looks like. So for that we will just log into our searched 2 over here, okay, just to see what is the current status of the cluster looks like. We will basically run that same Splunk show searched cluster status command, okay. We will sudo first, okay, we will clear the screen and we will run the, we will first go to Splunk home bin folder, so pt Splunk bin folder, then we will run a command Splunk show sh cluster status, right. So it will show you, if you see it over here, currently it is not showing up the searched 4 over here, right. That means we have successfully removed that one. Now when you remove that particular, removed a member using that Splunk remove searched cluster member and just stop it, okay, you can just re-add that particular instance very simplistic way, okay. So to do that one, what you need to do is we'll go to our searched 4 over here, okay. Now it may happen that there are a lot of stuff over here in this particular instance. Because of that, first thing you need to do is you need to clean that Splunk instance first, okay. Now this is important step. Now what you will be cleaning, this is a completely you need to talk with your Splunk admin and take the decision on that one, okay. If you want just a fresh instance itself, you can do just Splunk clean all. Otherwise there is a lot of options with the Splunk clean command which you should be taking look at it, okay. I will be giving that link as well so that you can explore those stuff as well. Now for now our Splunk is stop here, right. So what I'll do, and before you run the Splunk clean command, you have to stop the Splunk. So as we already stopped the Splunk, so what we'll do is in our searched 4 we will say Splunk clean all, okay. So it will see, if you see here, this action will permanently erase all the indexed event data, app key value store database, that means KV store, user information, global data, everything. So you have to be very, very careful before running this particular command over here. And I would suggest you first talk with your Splunk admin before you do that one, okay. There should be informed decision over here before running this particular command over here. Even it remove all the users from that instance as well, okay. So we clean that command. Now we will rerun that add searched cluster member command over here, right. So we do not need to initialize the cluster again, okay. We will just run /Splunk add sh cluster member. Okay, and here we have to give that some existing member URI over here, right? That means current underscore member underscore URI, correct? And this one we will be giving, let's say, our searched two details only, right? So we'll give https colon slash slash our searched two. This one we just copied over here. Okay, we will paste it over here, colon 8089. Okay, so if I just run it, so this needs a Splunk D to be set up, and Splunk D is down. So first we have to start Splunk. Sorry about that. Splunk start. Okay, so after Splunk start only we can run this particular command. So now we will try to run this Splunk add one. Okay, argument current member URI is not supported by this handler. I have given a wrong spelling here. Okay, member URI here. Okay, you do not have permission to perform this operation, requires capability, edit searched clustering. Okay, maybe this particular user details has been removed from this Splunk this searched for. So what we'll do first is we will create a admin user first. Okay, and then we will try to see if that can solve that issue or not. Okay, so for that we will just go to one level up to go to Splunk home. Then we'll be etc/system/local over here. Okay, and let us see there is any file or not. Okay, that file is not there. So there is a we are basically trying to create an user to this particular instance. Okay, now if you see, as we have run that command Splunk clean all, right? So it cleaned all the user informations over here as well. Okay, so for that we are basically trying to create that user now. Okay, so to do that one, we'll create a new file called user seed.conf here. Okay, and we will create a stanza called user underscore info here. Okay, and we'll create this two things, username as admin, okay, and password as, I'll just give a normal password here, but you have to give the strong password anyway. So we created this one. Okay, so we'll just restart the Splunk once. So for that I'll go to Splunk bin and I will just run a command Splunk restart. Okay, Splunk restart command will do, so that changes will be taking effect over here. After that we will try to run this same command again. Okay, so let us wait for Splunk restart to be completed. Now let us try to run this Splunk add sh cluster member, this command. Okay, so I'll just clear the screen here. Okay, again I have to remove this E here. Okay, so now if you see, that new member was successfully added. So the previous issue we were receiving is because when we ran that command Splunk clean all, right? So that command basically removed all the user level informations, index data, everything from that particular instance. So I just recreated that admin user. Okay, then I just ran this command again. So now it just successfully added. So if I just now see the searched cluster status over here, So if I just run this command splunk show sh cluster status here, okay, it should show me that search at 4 as well. If you remember, previously it was not showing up that search at 4 over there. Okay, so now this is one way where we have just soft delete this particular instance for maintenance purpose. Now if you see, if we just hard delete, that means we were completely removing this particular instance from Splunk cluster at all. Okay, so to do that one, first we will try to remove it. Okay, the same way, so first we will run this command splunk. So we'll clear the screen first. Okay, we'll run this command splunk. Now again we are removing, this time we are removing it completely, so that we will be using this particular instance for some other purpose. Let's say that is our purpose. Okay, so splunk, first we will remove this instance from this cluster using the same splunk remove command, right? Sh cluster member. Okay, so member was successfully removed. Now what we'll do is Splunk disable search at cluster config. Okay, so this is important. So here, if you remember, when we previously removed this particular instance by just executing this command and Splunk stop, when we re-adding this particular instance, we did not reinitiate that cluster because those configurations are already was not deleted from this instance when you run this particular remove command. Now when you run this command splunk disable, okay, sh cluster config, okay, so that will remove those configurations as well, initialized configuration. Okay, so now you need to restart the Splunk. So we'll just do a Splunk restart here. Okay, so this is completely removing everything from this, all the cluster level informations, everything it is deleting. Okay, so there is another stuff called Splunk Clean KV store as well. So there are a lot of cluster level details also stored. If you just run this command, I'll clear the screen and then run it. Splunk Clean, okay, KV store, and the input is cluster over here. So okay, we have to run the Splunk D. We have to stop the Splunk D over here. Okay, so I will stop Splunk, and then we will run this KV store one. Okay, so it will permanently delete all the key value store cluster level configurations as well. Okay, so it has deleted everything over there. Now if I just go to our search at 2 here, okay, again run this command, again it will not include our search at 4, right? So we have permanently removed search at 4 now. Now in this scenario where a particular instance which was previously was a part of the cluster, now we have completely removed and completely cleaned that particular instance, okay, for other purpose. Now we want to reintroduce that instance as a part of our cluster again. Okay, we have to follow this one. First we have to, basically this is a remove and disable case over here. Okay, so first we have to stop the Splunk, clean the Splunk like we did previously. Okay, so let us see our current Splunk status now. So it is not running, that means Splunk is stopped now. So we will clean that instance just like we did there. Okay, Splunk clean all. Okay, so this will clean everything in that instance. Okay, now we will start Splunk. Before we start Splunk, as we saw previously, we have to create that admin user, right? So we will go to our system local folder, okay, and then create that particular file, opt splunk etc system local folder here. Okay, we'll give ls over here. If you see it over here, previously we created that file, right, user seed file, right, that is also deleted. So everything has been cleaned up over here, right? So we will recreate this file again. So user seed dot conf. Okay, now we will create that stanza again, user info here. Okay, so we'll have our username, which is admin. We'll have our password, which is this guy. Okay, so we created this particular stanza over there. We'll save this particular file. Okay, we will start the Splunk now. Splunk start. Okay, we have to go to Splunk home bin folder. Hope it is Splunk bin, Splunk start. Okay, so what we did, we basically cleaned up this whole instance. We set up that admin user, we started our Splunk over there. Okay, so now to re-add that particular instance, so first step is we clean that instance. Now the second step will be we have to reinitialize again, right? So this is the differential part over here, right? Now we cleared that screen over there, right? So we will run again that initialize searched cluster config over here, right? So Splunk init sh cluster config, right? We have to give the auth, admin, and the password. We set it up over here, correct? Then we have to give the mg management URI, right, of this particular instance of this searched for everything. Every removing and adding, we are only working with the searched for over here, so that we will be consistent. Okay, so https:// our searched for external IP here, right? So this is our external IP for our searched for. Then we have our management port over here. Okay, so we have replication port, which is 9000. Okay, we have our replication factor over here, replication underscore factor here, which I will be giving 3 here. Okay, we have our deployer URL, conf deploy fetch URI. Okay, so this is our deployer URL. So for that, http:// we will copy that external IP of our deployer again. Okay, copy, we will paste it over here, and our management port of the deployer. Okay, we have to give the secret key. Okay, the secret key we will be taking it from our deployer only. Okay, so this is the string. Okay, we will copy it. We already copied it, this one. We'll go to searched for, we will paste it over here. Okay, then the searched cluster label underscore label here. Okay, so which I will again we will copy it from this deployer configuration itself. Okay, so if everything goes fine, okay, argument conf deploy fetch URI is not supported, something we did it wrong. Okay, it will be URL here, not the URI here. Okay, so con deploy fetch URL here. Okay, so if everything goes fine, okay, sh cluster level LABEL. Okay, I'm really bad in spelling. BEL. Okay, so this has been initiated. We will restart the Splunk once. Okay, so after Splunk restart, we have to again run that command called Splunk add over there, right? So this is the difference part where when we hard deleted that particular instance, right, we deleted all the cluster level configurations as well. So that's why we have to reinitiate that configuration, then run this Splunk. We will clear the screen. Okay, we'll clear the screen. We will run the command called Splunk add sh cluster member, right? Sh cluster member over here. Okay, and we have to give the current member URI, one of these current members URI, current member URI here, right? So it is https:// so we'll give our searched 2 or searched 3, any of this member URI you can give. I prefer to give this one, so that's all. It's just personal choice. 8089 over here. Okay, so everything goes fine. It should add that particular member over here. Okay, so I'll just give the user ID and password over here. Member is successfully added. So we are always checking from searched 2. So let us see. If you see it now, it is showing up. Our searched 4 is showing up over here as a cluster member over here as well. Okay, so we saw two ways to delete an instance, right? One is software and one is hardware. Now think about this one. It may happen that a particular member suddenly went down, something went wrong over there at the server level, right? So suddenly the Splunk got stopped or something happened over there, right? So that in that case, what will happen? So to see that one, what we'll do is over here from our searched 4, okay, we will just stop the Splunk. Okay, suddenly we will not run any of the command called Splunk remove member, nothing. Like suddenly it just stopped. Splunk stop over here. Okay, so we just stop that Splunk over here. So that means suddenly this particular member is down. So if I just see it from this searched 2 now, okay, searched cluster status, it will show. Okay, maybe it will take some time to replicate the status over here. So if you see now, this is showing the searched 4 is down now, right? So suddenly something happened over here. In that case, generally when this happens, if you just start Splunk and the Splunk start has been successfully completed, generally this particular instance will by default try to connect with deployer and get the details and try to connect with other searchers as well internally automatically. Okay, because the searched cluster level configurations are still there in this particular instance over here, right? So if now depends on how long this particular member is down, okay, sometimes you may need to run that resync command as well. Okay, I will show you the resync command over here as well, but generally this should happen automatically. Okay, so if I just start Splunk now, if I just start my Splunk now, okay, so generally whenever this particular instance is coming live, right, because of this configurations it has stored inside, okay, the deployer configurations and other stuff, because previously it was a searched member of the searched cluster, right? So it should automatically connect those guys and see it. Okay, and if I just see now, maybe it takes certain amount of time to reflect the status. If you see it, my search is already showing up over here and it is with the status up over here. Okay, now for your case, maybe based on the time it is down, okay, we may need to run this command. Okay, just manually, if you just want to resync Splunk, okay, there is a command called resync over here, sync, Splunk resync sh cluster, okay, replicated config. Okay, so if you run this particular command, so this particular guy will be replicating all these configurations from the captain over here. Okay, because if as you already know, the captain is the guy who is basically managing this task over here, right? Replications and those other stuff over here. Okay, so So this is the whole things about adding and removing members from a searched cluster over here. Hopefully this video is helpful. See you in next video.